Good morning. Thanks for joining us for a 2023 Caldecott Honor Medal book. This one's called Choosing Brave, How Mamie Till-Mobley and Emmett Till Sparked the Civil Rights Movement. It's written by Angela Joy. And it's illustrated by Janelle Washington. April 31st, 1955. The boy they found was far from home, far from mother and grandmother. Here on a visit, Papa Mose would say. The sheriff set out to dig a grave that day to hide the crime in the mud of Mississippi, where no one would see the boy suffering. But Mamie did the harder thing. She said, "No, you send my son home." It was the braver thing that changed everything. Mamie Elizabeth Carden was a child of the Great Migration up from Mississippi with her family, in search of a better life, a life with a little less fear, a life with a little more freedom. Daddy found work in Argo outside of Chicago, making all sorts of things from corn oil, corn binding, corn syrup, corn starch. But on the weekends, he made music at the Juke Joint on 43rd. The patrons paid in whiskey, though, making it hard to go to work come Monday. Mama didn't care for juke joints. Her joy was Jesus, food, and family. Fish fry, lemon pie, y'all come on and eat. All were welcome at Mama's table. Neighbors and pastors, strangers and friends, those who were saved and those who needed saving. From sin, from the south, they gathered there. The sugar fluff of Mama's meringue cut the bitterness of thick spun stories. All about Jim Crow. Easy to get arrested, hard to find a job, how to feel safe sometimes. Mamie was glad to be in Argo outside of Chicago, where a girl could roam free, but that didn't mean life was easy. 11 years old was hard. Daddy pressed a buffalo nickel in the palm of Mamie's hand and walked away. He never did come back. 14 was hard. Boys in school were cruel, and not every teacher was kind. Still, Mamie found comfort in her studies. Science, Latin, geometry, poetry, reliable subjects, loyal, true. Diploma in hand, Mamie was unusual indeed, the first African American to graduate at the top of her class. Yet the best of grades couldn't hush what she heard on street corners and pew. Can't catch a man with a book, they said. Better marry somebody soon. If folks hadn't pushed so hard, Mamie just might have found somebody other than an amateur boxer by the name of Louis Till. Louis came round and around Mamie's porch till Mama finally let her go, just up the street, just for a banana split. Mamie wasn't aware that Louis planned on eating there, right in the middle of all those white folks. That's not how it worked, not even in Argo outside of Chicago, where a girl could roam free. The owner was furious. Mama would be too, yet, while still afraid, Mamie stayed. It was the braver thing. Mamie married Louis just shy of 19. 9 months later, a baby of their own, Emmett Louis Till. It was a long and difficult birth. Bruised, scarred, swollen, he entered the world the hard way. With little hope that he would ever walk, talk, or learn, doctors set out to place Emmett in an institution, but Mamie couldn't leave him behind. She had to bring her baby home. It was the harder thing. Family life with a boxer named Till was not what Mamie hoped it would be. Locks were changed, police were called, Louis shipped out with the army. He never did come back. A telegram and silver ring were safely tucked away. They'd be Emmett's one day, fragments of a father he'd never have the chance to know. With love on every side, Emmett grew, despite the doctor's warnings, limbs stretched long and strong on an ever clever boy, a child quick to hustle and smile. When the milkman came, Emmett collected bottles. The work was hard, but the reward was sweet. When the iceman came, Emmett ran ahead. The quarter he earned felt cool on summer skin. Wrapped in the arms of Argo, outside of Chicago, Emmett roamed free. It was strange then when he came in before sunset, asking to rest a while. Mamie tried everything she knew, but when Emmett didn't get any better, she sent for help. The doctor called it polio. There was no cure. All Mamie could do was pray. With steadfast faith and tender care, Emmett did recover, but the polio left a scar, an invisible reminder, a stutter of speech. From time to time, Emmett's tongue and mind got stuck on words like bubblegum, soda pop, or moon pie. But Mamie found a trick, a workaround. She told him to stop, take a breath, and whistle. Whistling calmed Emmett, steadied him, allowing him to finish what he started to say. With time, talent, and plenty of hard work, a new life came calling for Mamie. Life in the big city, Chicago. Emmett was so proud of his mama. Together they made a great team. But deep inside, he missed Argo, outside of Chicago. He missed wide open spaces, the freedom to run. He missed neighbors and pastors, family, and friends. So when the invitation came to go south, south to fishing in the Delta, south to mud hole days, south to more cousins than he could ever fit in his upstairs apartment, Emmett was eager to go. But Mamie said no. The laws of Jim Crow made it unsafe for black boys to roam free. Still, Emmett made his case. He was a smart boy. He had good manners. Surely she could trust Papa Mose and Aunt Lizzie. Finally, with a worried heart, Mamie agreed. Sometimes a mother gets a feeling, an ache deep down in her soul, a warning. With Emmett's kiss still fresh on Mamie's cheek, the train wailed. Something awful was coming, something Mamie could not stop. 1 week and 1 day after Emmett boarded the Mississippi train, an early morning phone call, words on the line that didn't make sense at all. Emmett was missing, stolen in the night. No one could say where he was. It was 3 days before fishermen found Emmett in the Tallahatchie, bruised, scarred, swollen. He left the world the hard way. The laws of Jim Crow made it unsafe for black boys to roam free. It started with a whistle, the kind of whistle white women called rude and white men called profane. It started with a whistle, the story that shifted over time from a forgotten ma'am to something far worse. It started with a whistle, the lie that brought killers to Emmett's bedroom door. Praise for a smooth checkers move, a poorly timed joke, a workaround for a stuttering boy bragging on bubblegum. It started with a whistle, one breath, one sound, one moment to seal the fate of Emmett Till. The sheriff set out to dig a grave that day to hide the crime in the mud of Mississippi, where no one would see the boy suffering. But Mamie said no. The land that killed him would not keep him. She had to bring her baby home. At a cost of more than Mamie could earn in a year, the whaling train that carried Emmett south brought him home again. The casket arrived locked in a box that had no key, a box with legal papers forbidding anyone to open what the state of Mississippi held shut. But Mississippi had no power, not here. That box was coming open. Mamie had to see her son. It was the harder thing. The haircut still fresh from the barber, the curve of ankle, strength of thigh, the silver ring, his father's silver ring. Yes, that was Emmett, but only Mamie would know. His skin, his smile, his ears, his eyes, ruined. It would have been easy then to go to sleep beside him, to save her pain for privacy, to bury Emmett quietly, but Mamie did the braver thing. She sounded the alarm. For 4 long days she let the people come to bear witness, to mourn the son erased for the sin of a sound, a stutter, a whistle, a laugh. Reporters came too to tell Emmett's story, to document Emmett's pain. The image, reprinted on smooth and glossy paper, said more than a flash, than 10,000 words. Lighting a match to a civil rights movement, long primed to blow, city to city, town to town, people stood up, and Rosa, sweet Rosa, sat down. The murder trial was set for Sumner, Mississippi. Mamie made her way, fathers with some aimed fingers and guns at Mamie as she passed by. Yet, while still afraid, Mamie stayed. Seated in hot and segregated spaces, Mamie suffered the injustice. 60 minutes and a soda break brought the all-white jury to its decision, not guilty. 12 men and a judge set murderers free. A second murder mourned the death of decency. Joined by the NAACP, Mamie traveled to rallies near and far, calling for justice, not just for Emmett, but for sons and daughters still living, using brokenness to build, pain to heal. But all too soon, that too came to an end, with new headlines to write, new battles to fight. The world moved on without Mamie. The world moved on without Emmett. The home they shared grew painfully quiet. Yet Mamie couldn't wither. It wasn't her way. Grasping at what she knew to be true, science, Latin, geometry, poetry, Mamie returned to school. While studying to be a teacher, Mamie married Emmett's longtime barber and friend, Till-Mobley, a gentle man who stood with Mamie through the ugliest days. He never walked away. Together they made a patchwork family to warm the place where Emmett used to be. In the years that followed, Mamie poured life and love into community, helping students no one else could reach, visiting the victims of violence, working for social change. She taught the speeches of Dr. King to young performers after school. She called them the Emmett Till players. In turn, they called her Mother Mobley. Together, they traveled the country, winning honor and applause along the way. I have a dream, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In 2003, at the age of 81, Mamie Till-Mobley passed away. Thousands came to celebrate her achievements, to lay a hero to rest. Yet still today we whisper her name. For lessons unlearned and hatred still living, we whisper her name. For strength to sow love in spite of our pain, we utter her name. For every son and every daughter who suffered before, we sing her name. For every son and every daughter who suffer still, we cry her name. For justice, for peace, we shout her name. For Emmett. Thanks for reading this very powerful book. Bye.